Mastering Special Ops, Launch Secrets that can save you thousands. Hello, everyone. I am Tessa. I'm with the IdeaPros marketing team, and I have a special guest today, but I'm going to go ahead and say hello to everyone really quickly. And Felix, I see you over there in the chat, and we will have someone reach out to you. So, we have a little echo. Fred, can you put it on mute? You probably have it open in another screen. Hello, everyone. I am Tessa. I am the marketing director, or director of marketing at IdeaPros. And I have Fred Cary. You guys are on the screen with us. I have Fred Cary, who is the CEO of IdeaPros, and Matt, and I might butcher his last name, but I'm going to try, Matt Behrendt.
Wonderful.
Behrendt. Okay. And he is our new Chief Operating Officer over at IdeaPros. So we're actually talking about a subject that is, well, saving thousands is always exciting, right? But more than that, being able to do this launch process and have your operational processes so that you don't mess anything up, right, Fred?
Well, yeah, not messing anything up is a really good thing to do. The only thing better than saving thousands is making thousands or millions, but you don't want to be making it and losing money in very unexpected ways. And there's a whole lot of ways for companies, even ones that are pretty fluid and know what they're doing, to really mess things up. So Matt just joined us recently. He's amazing. He's brought the real structure that we need in this organization, and really helpful. The people who are partners of us already know that we've brought in this kick-ass team, and he's an ass kicker himself. You're a former Marine, and
yes. So the special ops, I got to tell you, I got to hand it to you. Fred really knows how to make something pop, and so even though we're talking about saving time and money, the special ops on the military side, but also the connotation of really precise, knowing the plan ahead of time, knowing what you want to accomplish, I think is conveyed by that. So nice topic.
well, thank you.
Fred is excellent at the titles, that's for sure.
Yes, I do titles. So the reality is that when we get to the point where we want to launch, we're all set to go, heavy duty, all in. We think we have things figured out, but there's a whole lot of things that we don't know. And Matt's the resident expert here on that. Literally saved tens of millions for companies, startup organizations, on the logistics, the import, everything that you really need to know about when you finally make it, and how you're not going to crash and burn right away by making it the wrong way. So Tessa, I know we broke this down in about 3 different sections. What do we want to talk about first?
Yes, we did break it up in 2 sections, and I have them up here. So number 1, we're going to talk about protecting your margin.
So, Maestro?
Yeah, well, so if I can, I'll just share a little background. And, I never knew what logistics transportation was, right, other than hopping on a plane. And I love that. But there's a saying in the industry: once you're in there, you're in there. But I escaped. But you're always in it. You're always helping people kind of unravel this little black box of transportation, logistics, fulfillment, distribution, and all of that. So it's vital. And just having a conversation with somebody today who wasn't familiar with it, if you think about everything that you have, all the transportation of raw materials, assembly, importing, exporting. So there's a lot to navigate. And the goal today is, as Fred mentioned, when you're at that exciting starting line, you've accomplished so much. Now you're ready to say, I've got to bring in my product. I've got to warehouse it somewhere. I've got to get it to my customers. I want my customers happy, and I want to do it at the most cost-effective way. So one of the first tangible things that I've seen over time and helped companies with, and it applies to startups and it also applies to established companies just launching a new line, and I'll provide some examples, is understanding duties and taxes. So this is really applicable to anyone bringing in foreign assembled or foreign made products, where based on how you bring it in, there's a book the government uses to identify how much are we going to tax for that product. And it ranges from duty-free up to 100% in some cases. So, A, you want to know your product, and you want to be able to go with a customs broker, and I'll share a little bit about how we're going to facilitate that later, to make sure you understand what that duty rate is, because I've seen time and time again, people understand the transportation costs. They've gone through the due diligence of understanding their cost of goods. They've set the MSRP and they advertised it, or they signed the agreement, and all of a sudden they realize there's an extra 10-15% of cost. And that is not a fun place to be, right? And so understanding duties and taxes. The other thing is understanding that how you import the product. So if you have a kit per se, where there's multiple items, that might be classified differently than if you bring in the items separately. So there's a strategy on that. And if you just know that point, you can ask the questions. Because as Fred said, you don't know what you don't know. And I think as entrepreneurs, the first thing we realize is we don't know that we really work 80 hours a week to avoid a 40-hour week. So duties and taxes. Let me give you an example. I still remember as if it was yesterday, of an established company. It's a San Diego-based company. They manufacture fabulous sandals. And footwear is one of the more challenging categories. And based on the composition of the uppers, the strap versus the lowers, the sole determines the duty rate. Well, these people, every time that they wanted a new design, they would send it to us. We give it to the customs broker, and they tell us, it's 80% composition leather, 20% this. And we said, that's your normal duty rate. Well, the product came in, customs took their container, examined it, took a sample, and said, you know what, your leather is not 10%, it's 12%. That 2% cost them 30% in duties.
Wow.
30% in duties. And not only for that shipment, but for every shipment of that model that they imported for the entire year. It ended up being $1 million. So imagine the sales have already gone. They've already collected the money. So as a startup, that's an extreme case, but as a startup, you just want to know, I need to get to the right people, okay? And I don't know.
I have a quick. I was just going to say, I have a quick question though. I know, is there spreadsheets that you can calculate these things? Are there numbers out there that they can go pull from, or do you have to have a specialist?
Yeah, I would say don't try it at home.
Don't try it at home. You need a specialist like Matt.
Somebody is a nerd in this respect. We talk about nerds, I think, on Wednesday. You can go and research harmonized tariff schedule. And every country has one. So worldwide, it's just a 9-digit number. 9-digit number, right?
But don't try this at home.
Don't try to self-classify unless you know what to do. But you can research it and you can find out. And then that's the bulk of the cost. There's other taxes based on what port you're bringing it in, but those are minor. You really just want to make sure that you're aware of the duties.
Perfect. And I know we can move on to number 2, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so number 2 is performing in the end zone. And tell us a little bit more about that, because I know that it's a great analogy, though.
For everyone who is, I think, missing sports, and maybe that's a title that people would appreciate. But so, you have inventory. You've brought it over. You've navigated the challenge of duties and taxes. You've saved some money. It's sitting in a warehouse or it's sitting in your garage, and you've got orders now. The focus is typically, how do I make that customer experience just pop? How do I make sure that my customer knows what's going on? Do they need 2-day? What's my strategy for how quickly they can order it or get their hands on it? And so, competing in today's day and age with Amazon, it's important to know, it's important to know what your customers want. Do they want fast delivery? Do they want the best price. But at some point, you're probably starting fulfilling in your garage. And so I want to challenge everyone as they think about that. I'm saving money. And for the most part, you could start out with a few orders a week, a few orders a day. It's manageable, no big deal. My kids are getting in bed a little bit later, but it's not too bad. But I want to challenge you to think about, as an entrepreneur, as the leader, the highest and best use of your time. And I think from a sales perspective, we've been talking to some of the partners and they're transitioning into marketing. For me, I define sales as a transfer of belief. It's just simple. And I have never met anyone in a company, especially that is better than transferring belief in their product than the founder, of the product, or the CEO of the company. So, at some point, our mindset is, I want to save money. But when you think about the value of your efforts focused on growing your marketplace, transferring that belief to clients, growing, your customer base, put some thought into that, right? And what IdeaPros, understanding this, what we're doing, and we're working very hard at it, is just as Fred mentioned, we are able to negotiate the marketing, a package that normally most companies wouldn't even have access to. Right? And we're offering that. We're doing the same thing with the fulfillment and with the logistics partners. And so since that was my world for 17 years, the last 7 of it as a managing partner, I know the industry and I know people that cater well to startups and small businesses. So we're working on a program where if we're identifying contract manufacturers, we know the product. We can assemble all of that information. We can do all of that up front, hand that over to the provider, and give you direct access to a level of service and competitive rate schedule that you wouldn't have. And in addition, part of that is, you don't know what you don't know. And so a lot of people don't understand even what to ask for. And let me give you, if we have time, another example. Again, a very established business. This is a global company that we started working with probably 15 years ago. And a very respected transportation manager, and they sell hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And they were trying to get transportation quotes for I would say pallet container loads of product all going air freight. And so he gave me all the information. He reached out to 10 different companies to get quotes. And the sales rep at the time said, Matt, we're way too expensive. He's not going to use us. And knowing the industry, I'm like, it can't be. Something's wrong. So I reached out to him and I said, Tom, would you send me all of the quote responses that you received from these companies? And some of them were global transportation companies. And I spent that weekend, I'll never forget it. And I figured everything out because I'm like, I know we're not that expensive, no way. And what he, with all of his experience, forgot to do was calculate the volume weight. So if anyone ships packages, that UPS or FedEx, they charge on the actual weight or the volume weight. And whichever one's higher, right? And this was on a massive scale. This was not on one box. And so I went in Monday and I said, Tom, this is why you thought we were too expensive, is you forgot about the volume weight. And I'll never forget his response. He says, you're telling me 20 minutes, I'm meeting with our senior executive team that I've just already blown my budget by 30%. And I said, yes. And he used us ever since. So the point being is, companies that will go that extra mile and are competitive, those are the companies that we're lining up to be able to connect you directly to. And so you can be comfortable knowing that you've got an advocate on your side. So very excited about that.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in just a minute here when we get to the end of our time.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, it's amazing, the experience level of the team. I know everyone is getting to learn more and more about the behind the scenes of IdeaPros. So this is it's fun to see this piece of it on the inventory. And I'm wondering, we're going to do number 3 and then we'll have questions. But I wanted to say to everyone that's watching with us, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat so that we can possibly answer them. We're going to fly through this last point, and then we'll let you guys open up the floor a little bit. So number 3 is focusing on big box retailers or not. So it's kind of one of those, right? So what is this point, and how can you make this hit home for our partners and entrepreneurs out there?
And that's every entrepreneur's dream, right?
Yes.
I want to go into Target and see myself there everywhere.
Yep. And that is a pretty amazing experience when you see your product on the shelf.
Yeah.
For sure. Have the opportunity to see many companies as they've got into Whole Foods. One of them, Barnana is one of them. I don't know if you've seen that at Whole Foods, but a good friend of mine, and it'd be like being an artist and hearing your band or yourself on the radio for the first time. So
I've done that.
Huh?
I've done that.
See, I haven't found one thing that Fred has not done.
It's true.
You know, speaking of Whole Foods, we do have a partner, Taco Petro Chips, which had that same experience, and they are now the #1 SKU in all of Whole Foods all over the country. So #1. Nice.
There you go.
But it's not always glorious to do that.
It's not. And I think one thing I should mention, and I don't know that we mentioned this on Wednesday, was that when we sold the logistics company that I was managing and running, we actually sold to one of our clients who had just exited with a $330 million acquisition to OtterBox. And at that time, we had all of the connections with all the big box retailers. We had the global distribution capability of World Trends in the company. And so why not put together a plug and play go-to-market initiative for crowdfunded products? And so when I met Fred, I said, I did something very similar. I was founder in a vision very similar. There were some differences and some major differences. And I could see right away that Fred had already addressed those in the model, which is why I was so excited. But the goal being, we worked with hundreds of startups, hundreds of people with ideas, and all of them, I just need to get into Walmart, or I just need to get into Target or Home Depot or Lowe's. And I'll tell you, the most successful people, when they got to the big box retailer stage, were those who really understood the customer, who were making 20, 30% more margin, 50% more margin because they were selling direct to consumer. So I don't want to, this is not black magic, but it's interesting. When you as an entrepreneur are starting to see where the sales go, you can start putting together some categories. Oh, I see a lot of firemen are buying this in this region. And you can start if you're an entrepreneur, you'll do this. What is it? What's driving the sales? And you'll refine that. When you have sales that way, and you get to a point where you get into a retailer and you talk with the buyer, the category manager, and you can say, this is the demographic. What you're doing is you're increasing your successes that they're going to pick up the product, and 2, you're protecting your margin. They will have a markup that they want to make, and where's that coming from? That's coming from your pocket, right? And so retailers now, and for the last 10, 20 years, are very sophisticated. It used to be where back in the day, they wanted your product, and you have the leverage. Now they have the leverage, and let me explain what I mean by that. When you go and say, we're going to put you in all of our stores, and you've got dollar signs in your eyes, and you're thinking thousands and thousands, and they're saying, okay, but here's our vendor agreement, right? And it's thick, and it goes through everything that you need to do, how you need to receive orders through EDI, what you need to give them in advance shipping notice, how the pallet needs to show up at their distribution center, when it needs to show up, an appointment has to be made. And what they do is they turn their transportation departments into a revenue stream. So everything that's not in compliance, you are now charged for that. So that's item number one. Item number two is you're sacrificing margin. So if you can sell and you can show a ramp on the direct to consumer sales, you're keeping that margin, right? And then three, if the demand goes up and you don't have your manufacturing or you don't have the back end together, you're going to lose that account and you're not going to be able to get back in there. So by launching direct to consumer, working out the bugs, understanding the demographics and the cause of sales, you're armed to go to retail, you're armed to protect your margin, and you're giving yourself time to dial in the back end so that when you get to retail, you can take full advantage and full advantage of the opportunity. And that's something, in fact, that I helped a lot of companies with. And in fact, in my last COO role, worked with all the large retailers. Walmart was a very significant part of our business. And then even overseas with some of the biggest retailers in the DIY space in the UK and Australia. I spent a lot of time over there. So that's a space that I know well. But from an approach, I want to put that seed and give you something to think about. Has there been companies that went direct to retail? Sure. Did Kobe Bryant go directly from high school to the NBA? Yes. But the ones that are successful doing that are the exception.
I think this also number 4 on your list of 3 is, you're talking about if you start becoming really successful and demand increases and you can't supply, you're out. The opposite is true as well. If you don't have the demand, you have that garage is full again because you have to, right?
Yes. In fact, thank you for reminding me. I have seen this over and over where somebody's so excited to get into retail that they're really leaving themselves exposed in signing an agreement that is not in your favor. If anyone's signed an agreement or you're an attorney, you understand this. It's not a good feeling, but you want it so bad. And so what can happen, I've seen agreements signed where if we don't sell this, you're taking it back, right? Not all of them are like that, but if you don't know that you can negotiate that, then you're going to be stuck.
But you're going to be so happy seeing a piece of paper with the name of the store, the chain you wanted to be in all of your life, or your last 5 years of your adult life anyway, that you're just going to sign anything.
And they know this, right? And I don't want to paint this as a bad, in a negative way, but the buyers understand that. That's the buyer's purpose and reason for being at the retailer is to get the best products at the lowest price. Right.
Yeah. And so let's talk about what we're doing about that, because now we have built out the launch pad to really kind of test out some of our products, but now we have the whole team focusing on Launchpad 2.0. That really is that's one of the big. We addressed the first part of the big hurdles entrepreneurs have is what the hell do I do? Basically, and how do I make sure I cover all the bases? How do I get my concept out to a marketable product and launch? Mm-hmm. We cover all that now with IdeaPros. If you partner with us, if you don't partner with us, we have shows like this that you can look at and try to do things on your own. I would suggest you watch all 100 or so that we have right now. And Tessa, I'm sure, will give me the correct number when I'm done talking. But launching is, I would say, the easy part in the sense that we've done all the work. You have a perfect product, perfectly positioned, ready to roll. You go live, and now there's this cluster of, I want to use the second word, of things that you need to do. You have to work with the shipping, the imports, the customer relationship management systems, customer service, drop shipping, advertising, different components, making sure your supply chain works. And it's more. And all those things are disparate services that you need to wind your way through as an entrepreneur. We decided we're going to take the Launchpad and we're going to make it the one-stop place where you can go from launch into the Launchpad, and you can go from assessing your marketplace to pre-orders to orders to having all of those facilities available for you so that you pretty much can almost continue to be a solo entrepreneur from your home with the support system that we're going to build around you. We're doing a soft test of that system in another month or so. By November, I think we're launching live.
I am excited. I just got off of the video call with our head of applications, and again, from one of the first projects that I'm working on is taking my background and connections and knowledge, and again, being able to connect you with an after launch resources and tools that have been vetted by us, that I know will be of great value. It's a package, and connect you directly with them, but not just say, all right, Mike, call Cindy and have at it. I'm working pretty extensively with these service providers to give them an idea and create a package, if you will, so that I know what they need to know. And I know that they're responsive. I know they're flexible. I know that you're going to get a great value for price paid. And so we're working very hard to put that together. And as it relates to Launchpad, specifically on the e-commerce side, is that you'll be able to, even though you're using an outside fulfillment house, if you decide to use Launchpad as the marketplace and the shopping cart, all of that stuff gets automatically downloaded to the fulfillment partner. They ship it out. You can see your orders. You can see all of that and manage that and plug it into your accounting through Launchpad.
Yeah, so amazing things coming.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. So I know we're right at the end of our time. So I wanted to make sure I gave you, Fred, a moment to do a final thought if you want. And then I'm going to put a couple comments up after that for the guests that we have. There were a couple questions, but they weren't related directly to, let me just double check. Yeah, most of them are about the investors and things like that. So I will get back to you in just a minute, guys. But Fred, do you want to leave us with a final thought?
Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur is hard. There's just no way around it. And even if you're working with experts and you end up with something that you always dreamed of becoming a reality, that's when the hard part starts. It's not for the weak of heart. Don't quit your day job immediately. You need to start doubling down and working your 80 hours a week. You work your 40-hour day job and then work 40 hours at this. I probably work more than 80 hours a week, and a lot of the staff does as well. And that's helping people who are our partners try to realize their dreams and turn them into reality. But when you cross that finish line, it really is the starting line. It's not the end, it's the beginning. And you need to arm yourself with all the tools you can have to succeed. I describe entrepreneurship as just running into a wall, getting all bloodied up, bandaging yourself up, and running back into that wall. And sooner or later, you're going to break through. So lose the frustration, lose the impatience, lose, this isn't fair, lose all those thoughts, and have that positivity and knowledge that you need to go forward with, to have the fortitude to be successful. And if you keep trying and you have a really great idea, you're going to make it. Just don't give up. Keep your eye on the ball, and you'll make it to the end zone too.
And it'll be worth it.
Yeah,
it'll be worth it more than you know. And what, if I can say, one of the things that I love about what the organization IdeaPros and specifically Fred is doing is he understands the importance of the mindset, surrounding yourself with people, celebrating the milestones, and being able to leverage the experience of people who've got a couple bandages or who have no hair. Because they chose to do it a different way, and you can leverage that. So,
thank you. You're an amazing addition to the team of amazing people that's going to help us with all of our amazing partners. And I know a lot of people that watch are not partners of ours. We can't take that many people, but the tools are here, and you just need to keep your eye on the ball, and you will make it too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Matt, for being on. We appreciate you. And we had thank you, Rodney, Kelly, Felix, Sean, Donna, Mike. I mean, there's so many people. Paul, Ben, hello, nice to see you. I'm sorry if I didn't get to put all the comments in. We had lots of great information today, but I do want to say that we have some see, it was right here. I'm going to grab a comment. Okay, so this one right here. Watching all the videos and being on the monthly partner Zoom, it's crazy how much more I have to learn. I'm thinking you said learn there, but that's absolutely, these videos are a resource for entrepreneurs. We do this every Friday at noon Pacific time. And so mark your calendar and mark to get notifications. Subscribe over on the YouTube channel. Rodney, I saw you over on YouTube. We had a couple others pop in over there too. Rob, nice to see you. Dream Team, of course, Fred, Matt. And we are here to answer your questions. So if you have questions, we're not covering a topic that you want us to cover, please let us know. There's a Q&A form in our post, as well as a reminder form where we'll text you before we go live. So if even easier, it'll come right to your phone and you can just link through and get right to our lives for next week. So I'm excited to see you guys all next week. Oh, Jared, thank you. Jared says, it's nice to meet you, Matt. He's another one of our awesome partners. We'll see you guys all next week. And thank you for hanging with us right before a holiday weekend. I mean, you guys are really, really committed that you guys are here, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Yeah, it's a holiday weekend. I'm probably going to take off 2 hours on Monday.
Right? I was like, oh, I'm going to be off for a 1 hour. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Take
We'll
care,
see you
guys.
later. Bye.